You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Just as an intelligent person, a statesman, I felt like he's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change.
Wow, how could Trump, equivocate on this whole thing? And then it took just a little bit of digging, just a little bit, because all you have to do is extend the clip 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan has recently aimed his criticism at Barack Obama, arguing that the former president ultimately undermined his own political legacy. When Obama first ran for office, he leaned heavily on identity-driven messaging, which resonated strongly with many voters at the time. Years later, Kamala Harris attempted to revive that same approach, but according to Rogan, it failed spectacularly. He believes that failure traces back to Obama's influence and the political framework he helped normalize. Rogan lays out his reasoning by pointing to past moments and media clips that, in his view, show how the strategy once worked and why it no longer does.
We did trust the government, but which is such a weird thing to say. You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Just as an intelligent person, a statesman, I felt like he's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You know, you think you're going to do something, and then you get into office, and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist, which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017.
Rogan reflected on a period when he personally accepted Barack Obama's messaging during election seasons, noting that he was hardly alone. He argues that a large portion of the country followed a similar path, initially trusting repeated claims pushed by major institutions. Narratives portraying Donald Trump as extreme or dangerous were circulated so consistently that many people accepted them as established truth rather than partisan framing. Rogan suggests the intent was clear: shape public perception early and decisively. Once that narrative took hold, questioning it came at a social cost. Anyone who pushed back was often grouped into the same negative labels. Looking back, Rogan says this experience revealed just how influential repeated messaging can be when it is amplified by authority figures and reinforced across media channels.
Yeah.
You know, I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. I think that we've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Well, it's the sky is falling thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
you cry wolf or whatever. It's like, you guys can only call me a fascist so many times.
According to Rogan, that narrative eventually lost its power. Over time, public trust eroded, and voters began drifting away from the messaging that once seemed convincing. After years of dramatic warnings and constant accusations, many people noticed that reality did not always align with the rhetoric. Rogan argues that what initially felt persuasive began to seem exaggerated and strategic. In his view, the messaging was less about honest evaluation and more about steering emotions to maintain political influence, first under Obama and later under Kamala Harris. As skepticism grew, voters became resistant and eventually openly dismissive. Rogan sees the most recent election as a clear rejection of fear-driven communication, media conformity, and political spin, signaling a broader breakdown in trust between voters and elite narratives.
She also has been saying something really crazy. She's been saying that this is the closest race of the 21st century and that it wasn't a mandate. That's just not true.
It's not true.
Gore and Bush was much closer.
Yes.
I think that was a 0.5%.
Yes. I don't know why she keeps saying this.
It's just a lie. And then also she's leaving out the fact that she lost every swing state. Every single one.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you talking about?
I know. It's
he
crazy.
won the popular vote and he won the Electoral College vote. And that's a mandate. Like, say that it's not a mandate. It's like, but it's almost like if you say it to the converted that they're going to listen and repeat it. Yeah, he barely won.
Right.
Like, no, he won.
Yeah.
He won every swing state.
Rogan believes the scale of Kamala Harris's loss deeply rattled both her campaign and the Democratic National Committee. He argues that the continued struggle to accept the outcome stems largely from embarrassment rather than confusion. Losing an election is difficult, but losing decisively forces uncomfortable self-reflection. Rogan suggests that discomfort does not change reality, and avoiding it only delays recovery. In his view, rebuilding credibility requires acknowledging failure honestly and examining why voters walked away. Political renewal, he argues, does not begin with excuses or blame shifting. It begins with humility, accountability, and a willingness to admit when a message no longer resonates. Until that happens, he believes the same mistakes will continue repeating.
She took credit for the no tax on tips things in the book as well.
That's hilarious because that was clearly his.
Clearly.
He said it first and they
Clearly.
copied it.
It's amazing.
Did she really say that in the book?
I haven't read it, but I have heard from someone who did read it that she did. So people.
She
can
had
criticize
to
in the
address
comments.
not coming on here in the book too, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Rogan then criticized Kamala Harris for attempting to take credit for the no tax on tips idea. He argues that anyone paying attention knows the concept, at least in its modern campaign form, was strongly associated with Donald Trump. It was not a long-standing Democratic priority, but rather a targeted message aimed at working-class voters. Rogan says Harris appeared to assume voters would not notice the shift in ownership. To him, this was another example of narrative manipulation that failed. The public response and election outcome suggested voters were not persuaded. What frustrated Rogan most, however, was that this behavior did not stop after the election concluded.
Her team was not truthful about that encounter at all. They never committed to doing the show, ever.
Yeah.
They said that, I said that I had a personal day, which is not true. I said I am not available the day that Trump was here. I said that day's not, I didn't say that I was have a personal day. They just made that up.
That's crazy.
And then they also said that they sent someone here to go through the studio, like sent someone to do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Not true.
No.
Not true.
How can it's just you repeat it and you say it and your side believes it
But
and you move
why
on.
would they do that when I can
don't
just
know.
say that's not true?
It's bizarre.
According to Rogan, Harris continued positioning herself as the originator of ideas that were not hers, even after the loss. He views this not as confidence, but as an unwillingness to accept political reality. Rogan also addressed claims surrounding his podcast, specifically the narrative that he refused to interview Harris. There was a major public push encouraging her to appear on his show, yet the interview never happened. The explanation circulated widely was that Rogan took a personal day on the scheduled date. Rogan now says that version of events is inaccurate. He claims the campaign chose to deflect responsibility rather than acknowledge that the interview fell apart on their end.
Yeah, I'm not. Why would I lie? I have no reason to lie.
So it would have been interesting to.
If I her over, I would tell the truth.
Yeah.
If I was like, we lied,
Yeah,
we told her I
whatever.
was taking a personal day, but realized I wanted to get Trump in. Not true. I tried to do both of them in the same day.
Oh,
that was
wow.
my idea.
That would've been
my
amazing.
idea was to do Trump during the day,
Yeah.
and then her to come. She had a thing she was doing in Houston. After the thing with Houston, I go, I'll do it at midnight. I don't
Yeah.
care. We'll do it whenever you want to do it.
Yeah.
While you're in Texas, but
Right.
I just can't do during the day because
Right.
Trump's going to be here.
Yeah.
But they had to have known. I mean, the Secret Service there was 200 guys here. They had
In Texas.
in this studio.
No.
There was
for Trump,
200
for Trump.
people here for
yeah,
Trump.
For Trump. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not exaggerating. It was packed.
Wow.
Rogan suggests it is reasonable to question whether Harris was hesitant to engage with his platform directly. His interviews are known for being long, unscripted, and unpredictable, offering little room for rehearsed answers. Unlike tightly controlled television appearances, his format does not rely on short sound bites or protective editing. That contrast became more noticeable after reports surfaced that a separate television interview required heavy editing to present Harris more clearly. Rogan emphasizes that his show offers no such safeguards. There are no rewrites, no selective cuts, and no production smoothing. For an audience that prioritizes authenticity, that environment exposes weak messaging quickly.
Someone had to know something that he was here.
Yeah,
It's not a mystery. But I
Bringing
said,
the dogs through.
but I wasn't trying to be deceptive. I said,
Yeah.
I'll do it later.
Right.
I just can't do it during this time.
That's the excuse they took.
they wanna
probably.
do
That's
it.
like, okay, they took that
They
excuse.
never
because-
wanted to do the
No,
whole thing.
Never.
They wanted to do like a 45-minute thing in a different place. They didn't say scripted, but they did say that there were some things that she didn't want to talk about. And then they denied that.
Yeah. That's what I meant by scripted. Yeah.
I said I don't care. I'll talk to you about cooking. I don't give a. I just want to know who are you.
I'll figure you out.
Yeah.
I'll figure you out in a few
Right.
hours.
Yeah, in 3 hours, you can't fake your way through a conversation like
No,
this.
I'll find you.
Yeah.
I'll find you.
Rogan believes Harris's team simply did not think she could sustain a 3-hour, open-ended conversation. Instead, they reportedly pushed for a tightly managed interview lasting under an hour. This was notable because Rogan's format is widely known for its long duration and lack of structure. Despite that, her team allegedly sought strict controls on both time and setting. Rogan argues that this desire for control runs counter to what his platform represents. His audience expects long-form discussion without guardrails. When a candidate requires heavy management to communicate, voters notice. In Rogan's view, that reliance on handlers raises serious questions about confidence and preparation.
What are you trying to do?
Right.
Like, you could close that border. Trump closed that border in a day.
Amazing.
In a day. You could say, I hate what's going on with ICE, and I don't like it either. I don't like this thing of like taking people. And here's the thing. Well, they should have done it the right way. Yeah, okay. But if you're poor and you live in a third world country, that's not an available option. Okay, what is an available option is this one administration over 4 years is encouraging people to go through.
Yeah.
Not only are they encouraging you to go through, there's Red Cross stops along the way. They give you maps. They tell you how to do it. They're funding people getting in. They're paying for air flights.
Yeah.
They're flying people in. They're moving people into swing states. They're getting them on Medicare.
Rogan says one of the most revealing moments would have been a direct discussion about border policy. He believes pressing Harris on timelines, decisions, and outcomes would have made for a revealing exchange. Rather than accepting broad statements, Rogan would have asked for specifics and accountability. Harris was tasked with addressing border-related issues, and critics argue that challenges intensified during that period. A long-form interview would have required her to explain those outcomes without edits or talking points. Rogan believes this is precisely why the interview never happened. When explanations are unscripted, accountability becomes unavoidable. In the end, he argues that efforts to manage perception often reveal more than intended. Voters, he says, ultimately recognized the pattern and responded by demanding transparency over image control. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.